call the meeting to order. The regular meeting of the Water Board of Trustees for July 8th. Before we get to the approval of the agenda, just want to say welcome, Kelly.
Thank you.
Glad to have you aboard.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. First item on the agenda is to approve the agenda. I do have one question. The pay application comes after the approval of the invoices.
Oh,
So if we could move that up maybe to number 3, approve that, take a look at that, and then approve the invoices.
Yeah, it's always been like that, I'm not sure why.
I don't know why it hit me all of a sudden.
was that last few months I've done it?
Yeah, it's always, that's how it's always.
It's always been that way.
Yeah.
So with that minor change, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2, minutes from the June 10th, 2019 regular meeting, which I see we have a copy of and they were emailed out before we had the meeting. Any questions or changes on the minutes from June 10th? Nick?
Motion to approve the minutes of the June 10th regular meeting.
I will second the motion. All in favor of approving minutes from June 10th, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Okay. Then we'll move to item 6 and discuss the pay application number 3 for KLC construction for the Highway 432 project. So we have a copy of that in our packets. $392,000 of the $593,000 has been performed to date. Am I reading that right? Less the retainer and less previous pay applications brings us to this application of $112,146.07. Any comments or peculiar items to point out on this map? Any input from the engineers?
Basically one segment that I'd love to do, the main line, on L from, let's see, A to High. That includes the boring of the highway there, so they saved the worst part to last, I guess. And then switching the services over to new mains, so. Otherwise, it's gone fairly smoothly so far, so.
They have a section yet that's the back T, everything I think's been back T'd to this point, but they're
Correct.
still reading the pressure check from, is it from Clemens to L?
Yes.
That needs pressure checked yet.
Okay.
So, I know they're waiting on contractor to get back with them for boring underneath A Avenue.
So looking at the application, doesn't look like there's any surprises on costs or,
So far not, no,
Okay.
that's correct.
good.
I think I sent an email out on one change that'll be on the next one with
Right.
the boring of underneath A Avenue to replace the 6-inch with an 8-inch. And that wasn't going to be a huge expense change if I remember right.
Correct. That's, I think it's right at 10,000.
Yeah. So it fell underneath our contingency, fell within our contingency to do that.
Okay. Any further discussion from board members or ex officio members? Okay. And I would introduce a motion to approve pay application number 3 for KLC Construction for the Highway 432 project in the amount of $112,146.07.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None opposed, the motion carries. Okay, item 3, invoices and financial statements. So this is our year end. So when we look at our percentages now, we can say, wow, we were over budget, or under budget.
Under budget, yeah.
And not wonder if we're gonna catch up by year end.
Right.
So this is it.
We made it.
We made it. And from what I saw, significantly under budget in terms of operating expenses. Is that just in terms of labor and things, is that
Has a lot to do with it.
a factor of turnover or?
Yeah, we had the well project out of the plant that didn't get taken care of. And that was, maintenance on wells, that was 80,000.
Okay.
So that didn't get used up, so that helped, I guess, but that's,
The weather was prohibitive on getting that done. They're actually
That will
coming
affect
tomorrow.
them.
So that will be coming up in a few months.
Yeah, I think they're starting work tomorrow on it.
Might require a budget amendment.
Well, I
I
think we
think it's
have,
actually in there for this year already.
yeah, we have continual in there,
Yeah.
so we're just gonna push everything back.
Okay. I went through the AP register, did not see anything that jumped off the page at me. Seemed unusual. Everybody else have a chance to go through this?
I didn't see anything.
Okay. So Crystal, our total on this one is just the combination of the two
Yeah.
registers you sent out by email?
Yes, that has everything on it.
If there's no further discussion, I would introduce a motion to approve the payables in the amount of $588,915.41, and also approve the financial statements as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on financials or payables? No further discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None opposed, motion carries. Item number 4 on the agenda. We'll go ahead and read the statement. This item is reserved to receive comments from the community, our customers, for concerns whether or not they are included on the current agenda. The community is encouraged to come and speak before the Water Board of Trustees, and they're asked to keep statements brief. Any questions are to be asked of the Water Department staff and Board of Trustee members prior to speaking to the full Board of Trustees, so concerns may be properly researched and answered away from the meeting. Comments are to be directed to the Board of Trustees only. Time may be limited to 3 minutes. Nothing that's not already on the agenda.
Agreed.
Okay. All right. So, agenda item number 5, Nahaska Rural Water. So we have Randy and Kenny?
Yep, we got Randy here.
Randy, would you mind coming up and just taking a vacant seat here so we can go over the issues at hand?
Okay.
First, I'll ask Matt to just give us a little bit of background of how this all came about, and then give you a chance to give your background on the whole situation, and then we'll...
Okay, kind of, I guess, Randy and I talked a little bit, what kind of started the discussion, I think what brought the agreement back to you was we had discussion on a customer that had a shop serviced by Rural Water and the house was serviced by us. The customer called, it was Craig Hall. He was rerouting his own service to tie off the line that fed his shop and therefore become a Rural Water customer. I know Randy and I had some discussion about it. At the end of it, we kind of left it alone. But I guess from when we talked, my understanding was that when this was brought back up is when you noticed that there is a 180-day written notice for termination of this agreement that we have. The agreement's in your package. It's a long-range plan agreement. Essentially, it set a rate at that time in 2009 for the what we would sell water to them for, and it also was an agreement that the customers we had we would retain, and that included Beacon at the time. And then now with this notice, this voids this agreement. So that Friday, this was on Wednesday, I believe, that Friday, Randy had hand-delivered a termination letter that was signed off by your board.
So that was Friday, June 28th, or was it before that?
June 13th.
Okay.
Well, that was the date of our board meeting. I delivered it the following day.
Okay.
I sent it along. I should have all seen it. I guess Randy's agreed to come in and answer questions that our board may have, and this will obviously have an impact on our utility. And I guess hopefully we'll find out, hopefully give us an opportunity to see what we both see moving forward as far as some of our other rural customers that were covered in this contract.
Okay. Any questions for Matt so far?
Just one for me, it's something fairly new. We supply Beacon now.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
We supply,
I guess I'll give you my story. If I'm
yeah, let's go ahead.
Back in, this is 2009, we were growing fairly fast, really fast. We've done a couple studies, DNR was concerned, we didn't have enough capacity at all times to serve our customers at the rate we were growing. They recommended we work out a deal with City of Oski, which you go way back in 1975. They tried to buy water. Our plant wasn't going to be built. It was going to be buy, but they could never work out an agreement. So we decided, we sat down and worked out if we needed water, we put on there we could buy up to 500,000 a day at $2 back then.
Okay.
For us to get that water, we have to build a pumping station. You do not have pressure that can supply our needs. We operate right there. I mean, our main transects, your main there on 63, probably right there, we have 115 pounds of pressure on our main. So I mean, and you only supply about 50, 60.
50 to 60 is
So
what the system runs.
that's how it started. Back then, Beacon was on its own. They were just your customer. You were charging 1.5 times the going rate. Probably, I should have looked it up, 2012 or 13. Beacon came to us and asked if we would take over their water and sewer system. They were operating part-time. Actually, a lot of city workers were running it.
Yeah, one of our wastewater plant operators, and then we had 2 of our distribution staff here working part-time for Beacon.
And then they had part-time. They wanted to get out of the business. They're losing money. So we took over and operated, which calls a franchise. They voted on it. So they gave us all their assets, some money. So then, since then, we've always been purchasing water from Oskaloosa Water Department at 1.5 times the going rate. We call it bulk purchase. We supply all the risk. We have to pay for leaks, water loss, meter replacement, all that. It's going all along. Since then, your rates have constantly been going up, and go back, since then, we've made quite a few improvements. In 15, 16, 17, we completely updated our treatment plant, so we can pump 2.5 million gallons a day. So we have our plant full capacity and we can serve them. At that time, the department said, even though you take over Beacon, we can't use your water. But since then, we've upgraded, so we like them to serve our water in lieu of the past 4 or 5 years of the rates constantly going up, which we have to give back to Beacon at a higher rate to break even, which we haven't been passing them on. So the biggest thing, that this has been going on for over a year, thinking about it. And at the time, I didn't realize Beacon was, the Citizen Beacon was part of it, so that's what prompted it. So currently, we are purchasing water from you. We, at $7.92 for 100 cubic feet, we equate that to 1,000 gallon, which is $10.56. So it's extremely expensive and not affordable to people Beacon when we can supply water. Since then, we got a construction permit from DNR. We can prove that we can adequately serve them, give them same fire protection what they have now, and go from there. So thought the easiest way is to terminate, so there's no. And all along in the past few years, there's people have come to us, and we look at it, as long as somebody's served by your water, our water, we're okay with it. But we've had some past where people have old service lines, or they own the main, and it needs to be upgraded, and they don't have the opportunity to. We're not actually going to seek out rural customers that are on water, but if they would come to us, we'd evaluate it on a case-by-case basis if they're on a private main that's shot. So talking with our lawyer, thought the easiest, quickest way, since our plan is we really don't need to buy water, we never have, we've never built a station, so we would like to terminate the long-range plan. There is also another agreement for emergency water supply. That just help each other out, and we would leave that in effect.
And that's our connection we have out by Craig Hall's.
Craig Hall. There was an existing connection in 1978 that they bought water. We also have 2 connections in University Park, if we had to. They're existing ones. We took over University Park in 2002. And now if we have Beacon, we would shut the valve off. We would have like 4 points that we have some capability now to help serve Oskaloosa, and you'd have limited to serve us, but it just spells out in emergency we help each other out. We've worked together with the water department over the years many times, shared equipment, we've done work for you guys, charge minimal charges, and a lot of times we don't. So but the idea is just that we'd be able to serve Beacon our water to save
So
on the cost.
go over those rates again, $10 and,
Right now, your
per
current
1,000
rate is
gallons.
$7.92. We went up 12% this past year.
Yeah.
So which is $10.56 a thousand we base it on.
so penny and a half per gallon.
Where we're charging, we have a bulk customer, we sell water to the city of Bussey at $2.55. I mean, normally bulk rate, you get a fairly reduced rate because we have all the risk.
So what are the citizens of Beacon going to receive
They'll receive a discount.
a discount? What will their rate be?
Right now, we have not increased the last 3 years since you guys increased. Right now, they get $12.50 for 1,000, $22 for 2,000, and then it's the going rate. So our scale would be, that rate would stay the same, so we can make some money, and we're losing money. I mean, when Beacon gave us money, they had some money, the 1 cent local option sales tax, so there was a fund, we just been raiding that fund instead of passing on the increase, but that fund is depleted.
Okay, so will the citizens of Beacon realize a decrease?
Yes.
Okay, of about how much percent?
The minimum will be the same, it'll be that after the 3,000
So
on
the
that.
minimum users
In half,
will,
they'll cut it in half.
the minimum, those that use just the minimum amount will
Not
see no
any-
change?
No change,
No change. Those that use any more than that,
yes. We'll see probably 40% decrease,
40% on the amount over the minimum?
yes.
Okay.
Yep. Our biggest thing, we have not increased it. They're charging, I think when we did it's $8.30 per thousand, and so now every 1,000 gallon we're losing. You know, but,
So,
I mean, we can't keep going without them, you know, really increasing the
have
rate.
there been discussions between you and Oskaloosa Municipal Water about this happening, and why is that?
Well, I did maybe 5 years ago to Chad. Said we cannot keep seeing this doing it. We do have options. So then you went from 1.5 times to 1 time. And there's just not been a willingness to negotiate.
Okay, yeah, we reduced from the 1.5 to
You just left it the same until you caught up. You never reduced the rate. One time Beacon was paying 1.5 times the current rate.
right, which was the case for all of the.
No, the rural was, outside was 2 times, Beacon was
Yeah,
1
1.5,
time.
so they were 50% less than, or
And that was at 648, so it stayed the same until
we caught up.
and then it was 707, and this year goes to 792.
And 792 is what rural water is paying Oskaloosa?
Yes.
Okay,
Same as any citizen of Oskaloosa.
sure.
But where we're buying at the bulk rate, we have to supply 10-15% water loss, and then meters and repairs and stuff like that. That's where our cushion is to make up.
Well, obviously, it creates a challenge for the water department. I guess it's my opinion, I wish we would have had some more, you know, discussion on what was going on, at least, you know, with the board itself. Because we were kind of blindsided by the whole thing.
I mean, indirectly, Chad and I had some conversations,
Yeah,
but it
that
didn't really go too.
didn't go anywhere. So, does any of that have anything to do with where we're at now? I mean, did you just feel like you weren't?
We're ready to
We're not
connect.
getting
We
anywhere?
want to connect Beacon to our system.
Okay.
We have most of the main run is not completed, but then we saw, I always thought this agreement was for existing customers, and then when that brought it up, and which Chad has probably denied 5 or 6 times in the last couple of years, people, and some of them, yeah, you know, they come to us and say, you have to go to the water department and get a release from them. Well, we're not actively seeking you. It's calmed down since you've done away with the double water rates. The double water rates was
Yeah.
the major issue, and that's only been less than a year.
So it sounds like you've been building up the infrastructure for a while.
Yes.
How long?
4 years. Well, I mean, our treatment plant.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been an ongoing, each year but then in our last major one is 15 and 16, where we added more wells, high service pump, spent $2.5 million putting our plant up to complete capacity.
So have you had your eye on Beacon since then?
They're their
that
customers.
Not so much,
buying water.
it always cost our mind, but
From us.
with the rate increases, push that faster. And I've read some of your long-range plans, and it doesn't look like it's gonna go down any. It's, you know, I've read a couple of the PFMN reports, you know, you've been on a 5-year, and I think it's gonna go pretty consistently more. I mean, we wanna keep working together, but we look at this as a business sense, and for the people of Beacon, as our only solution.
So from the business sense, how does this make sense to you? From
Instead of sending all the money, 100 grand a year to you guys, we would lower the rates, and then that part would help pay for the improvements we made to our plant,
Mhm. Where does your growth come from?
all in the rural
It's
livestock.
Livestock?
And that has pretty well stopped. Pork is our main hogs. But, you know, we've been hooking up. It kind of slowed down, but now it's picked way up again, 25 to 30 new homes throughout the whole county. We're also in Marion County there. But we just took over New Sharon, but that's our water, we're operating their plant. So basically we serve Most of us, but we're membership owned, so not everybody's on rural water. So I just got a call today. They need hooked up. Their well came back positive for bacteria. So we still have a few of those around, a couple hundred maybe in the county. So our growth is new homes and a little bit of industry and then livestock production. But we have majority of that. You don't see an expansion right now.
So you mentioned $100,000, that's the annualized impact that we would see in loss of revenues,
Yeah.
$100,000.
About,
I believe it was 112, right?
yeah, something like that. I sent that information to you.
And do you know what that break even is? I mean, if you send it to us, you gotta spend it somewhere else, where's the net savings in there? How much is it, do you know?
Well, I put the number to it.
I mean,
We do a report.
roughly, is it
and I know yours-
half, a third, I'm just
Third.
an order of magnitude, so.
Basically, we figure our cost of water is $255 a thousand, and we're covering all our expenses, depreciation. That's what we have a descending rate scale. So any of our customers, most of our livestock customers, over 20,000 gallons, pay $2.55. The city of Muncie buys all our water, it's $2.55. That's our bottom end cost of water.
Okay.
We actually do a true cost of water, and per thousand, it's around 80 cents. But that's chemicals, labor, and
Right.
electricity. Not the plant, so then we start adding all the other numbers. We look at it every year, and we look at what our bottom number is for water, and we need to make $2.55.
So on the 112, you're roughly 35 to 40 cost.
Yes.
30, okay.
And your timetable is what?
Well, up to you guys, 180 days from June 13th.
108 days from June 30th.
We're building it regardless because we want to back up. It's built, it's not completed, but most of the pipes in the ground is back up to supply water in case of a problem.
Supply water to
Beacon,
Beacon.
if you had had a trouble or whatever, it happened just a couple times. And
So
it
from
is,
180 days from June 13th, you're going to be pulling no more water from Oskaloosa.
that is the plan. Unless we work out a different agreement. For what we can produce water and what you there, I cannot see it at that time with Chad a compromise how we were willing to sell water at a fair price for both sides. So we're in the business to produce water.
The extra capacity that you put in, you were going to put in anyway.
We put up the maximum we could do.
Yeah.
And then did the funding for that all come from ratepayers, or does the federal government give you any kind of grants?
No grants.
Okay.
There have been no grant. There was grant in the very beginning to build it, but there's been no grant in the water side since. There has been some grant. We built 6 sewer systems, so we get grant on sewer, but not on water. So we borrowed money just like this from the Iowa Finance Authority.
Okay.
And so the ratepayers of Beacon are paying the cost with the money they had in the reserve. We took over, they had some reserve money. So we said we would not take the money, it's not in a black hole, we give them accounting every year what we do with it, and this will pay for the piping and when we make improvements to town. So yeah, other than, all the, we've added 2 towers, there on the wells, it's all full funded by the ratepayers.
The topic of a tiered rate structure has come up many times in our board meetings.
Rural waters all have tiered rate structures.
They have always had that, and it's not uncommon. Would you be
Because-
open to an agreement at this point, at a reduced rate?
Depends what it'd be. Or purchase some water if we could there, split it or something.
So there's still some willingness to,
We want to cooperate, put it
Okay,
that way.
all right.
We want to make it better so we can be a good sense for us and for the citizens of Beacon.
okay.
We need to get a return on our investment, which we're not doing. And we're not even breaking even, in the last few years, so
And the fund's about to run dry.
the fund's going to run dry this year. And that was just because what they did is they put 1% of all their sales tax, that option penny sales tax, went into the water fund account. And we kept that with our auditors as we call restricted funds. You can only spend on Beacon. Because the issue we have in Beacon, and it's come up again, you know, there's a bad rough winter. Somebody had 30, 40,000 lost, they got a $1,500 water bill.
Yeah.
We can't even reduce it, it's, you know, for ours, we kind of knock it down to basic cost of water, try and help out, but, you know, we're buying water at this, and, you know,
Mhm.
it's, we have no flexibility. And it's to optimize our plan.
Well, we'd like to, I guess I'm speaking for myself as a board member here. I think it's in both of our interests to think of the customer first and how to optimize the entire system, not just one or the other, so.
If you could come back and figure out what are your two basic costs, or what we call bulk water purchase, we would look at that and maybe split Beacon or do something to reduce the impact.
And we need to evaluate how that affects all the other.
I mean, I pay more
know,
bill
it's a-
Oskaloosa,
Yeah.
so I'm a rate payer, and doing this could affect my bill,
Right.
so I mean, it's just,
So that would be my position. We need to spend time and try to evaluate what's best for the entire area.
I mean, especially since the, Oskaloosa Water's already got the infrastructure in place to do it all, and that's been put in place by our ratepayers. And so it seems like a waste to chuck that,
Yeah.
if there's some other way to work through that.
the biggest issue, you know, why Beacon came to us more than anything else was your rate structure. You know, they've still never got over the 1.5 times the rates, you know, that's been, so they said, we've always been paying for way more than our fair share, and it's an issue. Same as the double rates out in the customer, I hear that over and over and over again. It's a sore subject, I mean, that's, you have to do what you have to do. But there are some old-time rules that have never been updated in the Husky Water Department until recently.
Until recently, yeah.
It's probably a longer conversation than we really want to have here, but is there something inherent about how we do it, or how we're forced to do it by regulation as a municipality versus a rural water that makes ours 3 times higher?
From the city council level, back in the 1990s when I was on board, one of the things you had to prove if you were doing annexation was how the person being annexed would benefit by being brought into the city limits. And so one of the things that the city council could point at was the rates that were being paid for water. And so they were higher if they went outside of the city limits, partly on the thought that if annexation were ever to take place, this would be one of the things we could point at is, hey, this is the advantage of moving into the city limits.
But that's changed. It sounds like it's 3 times higher if you live in the city limits, is what I'm understanding.
Well,
It's the same in
yeah,
the city. Well, if you're on rural water, yeah.
Yeah, that's they're saying they can do it for $2.50, and we're roughly
Well-
saying it costs us $7.50, and that's
Yeah,
what
so
I'm
But
trying to.
in retrospect, our minimum, all our rural water pay is, they pay $28 for the first 2,000 gallons. That pays their debt, you know, that's all our, you know, so the first 2,000 is higher by far. And then we
Okay, well, I misunderstood that.
Yeah, we don't do a flat rate, so our minimum, each city is a little different, Beacon pays different, because when every town we've taken over, it depends if there's debt, no debt, so each rate, you know, now is there. So in rural water, this starts off at $28 for 2,000 gallons, whether you use water or not. Then it drops to $5.50 1,000 for like 3,000, then $4.50, $3.50, then above 20 is $2.55. So basically, like a farmer, when they use 50,000 gallon of water, they're paying like $3.50 per thousand.
So that 3 times is only when it's
Above the
real
20,000.
heavy water user.
But because,
Above, yeah, I mean, our next tier from 3, 4, and 5 is $5.50
So-
per thousand.
If you average it all out, it's more within the city limits, but it's not double.
See, your minimum, whether you use water or not, currently is for 750 gallon, now it'll be $16, just under $16.
Well, that's 2 units.
2 units, that's
So
be
it's
1,500, so
1,500
3 units, which is 2,250 versus 3,000, is about 24 bucks. So, but, I mean, you're looking, so our rural minimum is a little bit higher than what the minimum
But the
was.
folks at Beacon aren't paying that, they're paying so much higher is what you're saying.
No, they're paying $12.50 for the first 1,000, $22 for 2,000. And then it's this going rate. The Beacon issue is the 3 to 10,000 gallon for a family is, you know, the 10.56 per thousand.
So their minimum bill, they're not gonna see a decrease on it once you get past that 2,000 minimum.
No. And then it'll
Yep, then it'll drop.
to $5 or, and they probably will set up what we think is the best.
How do you think we should negotiate this going forward? If you're open to negotiating, how?
And we have to come up with what you can sell us water for at a.
Just have us present you a proposal?
Mhm.
What are the thoughts, board members?
I mean, nothing's gonna happen for 6 months,
Right,
unless you sign off and say you can hook it on when you want, but it's,
not gonna do that.
right, so. Basically, it's a 6-month shot across the bow that,
Which probably needs to happen a lot sooner than that, so we can
hmm,
plan appropriately. If there's gonna be a proposal, it would need to come to you
yes,
quite a bit sooner rather than later. And we'll have to do some research into how it affects our entire rate structure, so.
see, we look at it as bulk is,
Matt and Kelly,
is, you know,
You what?
your cost
you
of
good
water.
with the thought of that, putting together some sort of a
Yeah. So do you sell wholesale to other water districts also, or
One city,
you sell, what's your rate to them?
255.
$2.55.
And rural waters is pretty common, I mean, there's both ways. There's 19 rural waters in Iowa, I'll give you some examples. City of Des Moines supplies all the water to Warren Water.
Yeah,
Um,
Southeast Boat.
Southeast Polk got absorbed by Des Moines Water.
Did they? Okay.
Xenia, which is
Yeah.
very large. So they sell water. And at one time it was under $2, it's gone up in the $2.70 probably. I'm just listening to other ones. Our largest rural water is Rathbun Rural Water, and they're a wholesaler to everybody, and they're under the $2 range. They require a connection fee, you know, to help pay some of the infrastructure costs, but
That's where it gets hard to compare. You know, some people charge connection fees.
Yeah.
The minimums are different, you know, the,
connection fees are usually you're buying into the plant or a percentage of the plant to make sure that, you know, so the fixed costs are paid for up front. Then you're only paying for the cost of labor, cost of water, plus, you know.
okay. So if staff is up for coming up with a proposal, I think you should just give us a chance to
It'll be fine.
kind of evaluate what's best for the whole county.
Yep, that's the way we look at it, it's countywide, but it's,
All right,
and then we could change an agreement at that time and set a new, you know, term agreement.
yeah.
And the other one is, you know, we'll invest on a time. The other one that creates hardship once in a while is the blanket, not allow a rural customer on a private line that has issues to hook us. Or then they have to pay to upgrade their line and, or a lot of money, and we're not far away to be able to hook some people up.
Mm.
But we're not.
But that goes away with this too, right? I mean, it's
Yep.
just open season.
But we're not gonna go in and market ourselves to take over city customers.
Are you obligated to sell to people that request in rural areas?
Yes, we're membership, if we can serve them water. So we're a co-op, we're membership owned.
Okay.
So if a customer comes to us, whether I mean, we've had all kinds of rural customers that are on city water. I wanna get rid of my city water and come to us. And we have always trying to work with the city.
Mhm.
There's a few instances, yeah, it's worked, Chad is, or you guys have signed off saying, because of unforeseen, things that is better interest.
Right.
Just like rural waters, we don't compete against each other, we border each other, most of us have, and we don't have territories. We actually, rural waters, other than if you're a district, which some of us are incorporated as a government entity,
I say, are you a government entity? So-
we're a nonprofit private. So there's no boundaries, we're not defined by utilities board or nothing. It could be open season, but we want people to have good, safe drinking water. That's all what it's about.
Mhm.
And there's always been a lot of issues against rural water in the past about not providing fire protection. We've done, we took over University Park and we run an 8-inch main with a 500,000. If we're gonna do that, we are going to supply city services. And guess what I'm at, there's another one way that a bugaboo of mine that I need to put to the full board is, there've been 2 or 3 instances, and I don't know if it's true or not, that's what I've been told. There's been some activity about growth on the west end, on the bypass of the 4-lane highway. You put sewer all through that area, and we've been told that they have been stopped from growing unless they pay to get the water hooked up. I made an offer to Chad way back then. At the DOT shop, we have a 6-inch water main with 80, 90 pounds of pressure. We said we are willing to supply that into that area to serve water, as long as somebody pays the cost of material to put it in. We would sell water at that time until the city ran their main out there and they could take over at any time.
Talking just over by the 63
Yes,
bypass?
west side of
63 and Highway 92?
Just behind the DOT shop.
Yeah.
And actually, I think north side of that road has sewer too.
Yeah, but we could provide a 6-inch, they would have to build, whatever development, build the city specs, and we would supply water to them. And the rumor got to me that Orson wanted to build out there and they were blocked because of water.
So they're currently on city water?
Well, we have water up there, DOT's on rural water.
Yeah, I don't believe we have.
All we're trying to say, if a new business wanted to develop western bypass, and we said Orson wanted to go out there and they were blocked from it because the water department said you had to pay all costs to get the water to you. We say build your infrastructure to city specs, let us run the water until you run the water out there. We'd only, as long as our material is paid, we're not that far, as long as our costs are paid up front, and by developer, you could develop that until because you have to go under the highway and do a fair amount.
So you would supply the water until such time as the city's infrastructure reaches there and then
We would just disconnect
to
it.
the city? Okay.
I guess I've never officially given that to the water board of trustees, but it's been to Chad. But that's, we'd like to see that area grow. It ain't gonna help us. I live in Oskaloosa, I go to Massachusetts. I'm not trying to cut out Oskaloosa, or, I'm for the growth of a business in Mahaska County that's rural and city. But I thought that would be a win-win, there ain't got a whole lot going out there, but there's a little room.
Yeah.
You have that little triangle, that's always up for sale, and then Gardner's part of it, but, and Joe Warren, where you got the sewer main.
Yeah.
Or if something would take off, and, just like Beacon, we can supply fire protection. So, that's just an
Okay,
afterthought. That way you officially know that if that never happened, that's always an offer.
Just more ways that we can work together.
Maybe that's something that we could tie into if we come to an agreement with Beacon as well, at the stipulation under that, that you guys would be able to provide to growth out there until we were to get main out there. That way it puts an interest for both parties into the agreement.
Yeah. So we'll put something together and
Okay,
try to work it out.
that'll be fine.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you, yeah, no problem.
Welcome to day one, Kelly.
So that was agenda item 5. We've already addressed agenda item 6. Is there a 7?
Yeah. We don't have any,
Oh, it's gonna be,
it's Jack with Modesto and it's in North Waterline.
Oh, okay, yes.
Was there anything else? Oh, there was no seven on here.
No, not in the comments anyway. But let's proceed with it anyway. Okay, come on up, Jack.
Well, I'm here to set bid dates, hopefully, for the, just to give a little background on it. I'm calling it the South M, South H, and 11th Avenue West water main improvements. If you remember, we're going from F here with an 8-inch over to M, basically on the south side of 11th, and then running an 8-inch up H from 11th to 9th. And then on M, we've got a section here, 12-inch main coming from 3rd Avenue to roughly the M Street lift station area. And then an 8-inch from,
7th or 8th.
yeah, whatever street that is.
I think it's
It might be 9th as well. 9th here down to 11th. And that crosses underneath the Union Pacific Railroad. And that is 8 inches as well. We've got the plans at about a 95% stage. I'm going to leave a set here with that staff can review comments on. We've submitted the application to the railroad to get that permit going. Per Iowa code, at least our understanding of the Iowa code is there's a one-time charge of $750 to get that permit, and that should be all that the utility has to pay for obtaining that permit. That's basically everything we've talked about. Right now, I'd like to set a bid date of August 6th at 11 a.m. The taking of bids, and then the public hearing and acting on those on the August 12th board meeting at 4 o'clock.
I guess one thing for note for the board and ex-officio members, we did go through and decide to abandon that 4-inch along 11th Avenue West and tie all services over, correct?
Yeah, I'll address that a little bit here, man.
Okay.
So there's an existing 4-inch that goes through here in 11th right now. There's been some issues with, it's very deep because there's been some fill put through there. So it makes sense this time we're putting in a main 5-foot deep, we'll get rid of that line. There's some services here between D and H that we'll have to switch over, and then there's a couple services in the park, I believe, and then a couple here between H and N that will take off there as well. There currently is not a main here on H between 9th and 11th, so there's nothing, I shouldn't say that. There's some services that come off of 9th that run down, they're long services, we'll get rid of those long services and then have short stubs instead of the half-block long services currently exist. Again, there's no, there is a main here that comes up, M wraps around here on 9th, but there isn't anything through here, obviously, so we'll replace that as well. This 12-inch main is basically going to act as a transmission line. We're going to leave the existing 6, I believe, in there, the service come off of, and not worry about those at this point.
Well, do you remember right offhand what we were looking at for excess cost? It was like 25 or 30,000?
Yeah, we were right at 25.
25
Yeah, get those services
to do this
over.
while we're at it.
Okay.
And this in addition benefits more customers than just what the original one as far as for most.
Yes, this is actually going to get, everybody will be tied over to the new line.
Yeah.
Should have better flow on it.
Correct, certainly.
For our staff, the repair will be a lot easier, shallower, safer working environment. And
We'll also plan on here, when we make this connection at Evans Drive M, we'll tee this so they can be extended out Evans Drive in the future without too much difficulty.
And that was one of the repairs for next year?
what's that?
South side of Edmondson and 15th.
That was something we had discussed initially with this plan, but I don't think it's in a CIP currently.
And that was a 4-inch or 6-inch leading up to that?
This piece through here, that's like a foot, yes. Yep.
I mean, that would definitely be one that would be able to tie on to off of this and go down there and be very beneficial to us. But if I remember right, when we ran cost estimate, that was like $135,000 or $150,000 excess to what we were already spending.
Yeah, our current, with the design we have now, we're at, estimate based on prices we've been receiving, we're at 498,000. And I think when I originally gave the number, it was like 496 or something like that, so.
This project's been on the CIP plan for a while. It might-
The initial $235,000 project was.
Okay.
Okay. So what drives up the cost to hook on to Edmondson? 130,000 seems like a lot of dough.
That was just to extend this down here.
Yeah, that-
Extend
oh,
down
okay.
Edmondson Drive, no, yeah.
That was gonna take us all the way down to, was it 17th at Red Storage Harvest
Correct,
Point?
they said.
Oh, okay.
That
We were
whole-
gonna completely replace that and tie over services
that's
there.
the whole-
That was independent of this work here, so.
Okay, I just had visions of hooking the 4 onto the 8 and.
No.
Just got a check for it.
Yeah. Wow.
Gold line. So that's where we're at, I guess. Any other questions, I entertain those, I guess, so.
But that does put us in a better position to hook into that at a later time.
Agreed, and if we were to go back later and try to disconnect that 4, we're gonna end up tearing up Edmondson Drive and 11th Avenue West to disconnect that 4 from that.
If we wouldn't do it now.
Yeah, if
correct,
we were to
yes.
wait, so we're
Yeah.
probably gonna have more cost to wait and do it than what it's gonna cost us to do it at this point.
So with your 95% design, is that, so right now that 498, is that a plus or minus 10 number, or is that a plus or minus 30 number? Where are you at on that? How firm is that estimate?
Till we get bids.
Well, and then how confident, like,
Yes,
so
I think
what's
we're
the
pretty
design
good.
change?
What I'm gonna do is leave these here with staff to review and see
Yeah.
if there's anything we missed that they know about as far as services. It could be a couple $1,000s here or there. Again, it's an estimate of based on costs we've seen.
Right, that's what I'm just, when you're saying 95%, what's that?
When I'm saying the plan's at
that
95%,
5%? Yeah.
I'm gonna go, we haven't reviewed all the notes. What I'm talking about as far as the plan review is making sure the notes all make sense and those kind of things.
So it's not a detailed engineering design yet at 95%?
Yeah, it's very detailed. It's, like I said, I've got one go through with it and it's ready to go.
You said August 6th would be
August 6th bid letting, yeah,
bid letting, and then at our August 12th meeting
consider.
would
you know,
be
and that
for us to look
yeah.
at the bids and grant. What do we call it? Yeah. Choose the contractor that we're gonna use to go. Okay. So they get them turned around that quick, huh?
Yeah, honestly, if we give them a month, they're gonna look at it the last week. If I give them
Yeah.
2 months, they're gonna look at it the last week. If you give
It's
them,
like a week.
yeah, give them a week, they're gonna look at it that last
Right
week.
away. Okay. Any questions for Jack? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we do need to act on those, setting those dates in a public hearing though.
So we got the special meeting to set the
Or just have a motion in this meeting?
That'd be better.
Yeah, that'd be better, yeah. Set the dates for the public hearing and taking the bids, yes.
So we can set a motion under this agenda item.
Yeah. So the public hearing would be, I guess, the
On the August 12th.
12th meeting would be the public hearing.
So we need to, right now we need a motion to set the bid lighting and the bid opening dates.
Yep.
Correct.
You give it a shot here. Introduce a motion to set the date of August 6th, 2019 for bid letting on the Edmondson North project. And then August 12th for the public hearing on bids that have been submitted.
It's actually public hearing on plant specifications, form of contract.
Public hearing on plant specifications and form of contract
Yeah, and then.
on August 12th.
And also consideration of award bid, or bid award, yes.
And also consideration of bids submitted.
Yep.
That work? Did we get all that down, Matt? Oh, it's recorded. Okay. So we will have. So motion has been introduced. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. Bids will be open for bid on August 6th and then public hearing on August 12th. Done.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jack.
Yep, have a good evening.
Before you leave, is this just one set here?
Yeah, you want additional?
Well, did you send a PDF
I did,
to
to
Keelish?
Keelish, yes, I did.
Okay, so
Yep.
we get the review on it then?
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
All right, agenda item 8, the wastewater collection plant operations and stormwater operations. A little reprieve from the rain, did we?
We did.
Yeah.
So far, everything's been running fairly well. We did get 2 ton of bentonite in last week. We're gonna try to seal the south wall of the upper EQ basin. It had started leaking. We talked with Jack. The simplest fix hopefully is that. They say it needs to go on an application rate of £1 per square foot. Hopefully that'll resolve it. If not, we're looking at actually putting a new partial clay liner in it on the south side to prevent it from leaking through.
So you have to empty this thing and then?
Right, we have it empty down now. So this week, the game plan is we'll probably work with water staff, wastewater water staff to get it down here. It's 80, 50-pound bags, so not gonna be a whole lot of fun.
No.
We've got a couple sinkholes we've repaired. Other than that, really pretty quiet. I just talked to him today. We have a pump at University Park Lift Station that we just replaced rotating assembly in. We're having issues with that again. They're working on trying to replace the rear wear plate in the pump to see if that helps. Staff doesn't feel confident that'll fix it. We're also working with Gongle and Associates to get price of a replacement pump for it. I'm hoping we can do a wear plate as I believe next fiscal year there's money allocated for improvements at that lift station. But it'd be nice to take the money out of a CIP then use our operations money for it.
What do you think that pump would potentially be a hit on?
Pump will probably run $5,000 to $6,000.
That includes install costs?
We would do the install in-house.
Okay.
I guess another thing, just to make the board aware, I met with Sean Murphy, who's sewer engineer, last week. We have roughly 1.5 million left from SRF funding on the 3 phases of projects. We did cut a complete division of phase 3 out, which was the open cut or the board line replacement. We did go through last week and we had Garden break down the approximate cost of all the different projects. And I think he's getting ready to submit a plan, what we can get done for the remaining SRF funding. And then we're moving CIP projects for the next 5-6 years around to try to get the DNR mandated projects completed while still trying to keep up with what we have that we know is failing ourselves.
It's SRF funding on the city's
Yes.
side for
Yeah,
stormwater, wastewater.
yeah. I don't know about the rest of the council, but I've got a little bit of heartburn looking at the inflation that we're seeing in construction.
Yeah.
Well, that last bid opening, I mean, we had one contractor for the open cut and it came in almost double what the projected cost was.
Yeah, so, you know, question is, well, is it the engineer's estimate that's off, or is it the competitive environment that they're in that they can do that? And they can make big money at this stuff nowadays?
And just through general conversation with some other communities, I mean, it sounds like, and engineers, it sounds like there's so much work of this type out there right now with the DNR coming down with all these mandates, that these contractors can kind of pick and choose what they want.
No, you're absolutely right.
I mean, it's not a seller's market right now, it's a buyer's market.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you've got the pressure that's put on the council, and at this point is, okay, you've got a DNR mandate that you've got to hit, and then the price tag is shooting up.
Yeah.
And so how much money do you have to work with, but that time doesn't change, unless you can have a sympathetic ear from DNR, which sometimes you get them. It's rumored anyway.
So during these rains, we've had this spring, early summer, you were talking about south of the railroad tracks where we have storm drains that condense down from, I don't know how big to how small, but that's what's causing a lot of backups in the area. Is that on a CIP plan somewhere?
My understanding is that this next fiscal year, they have money allocated to do a stormwater survey to identify the trouble areas, prioritize them, so that we can start adding that to outgoing fiscal years to try to improve this.
Another survey.
Mm-hmm. Every now and then they do really good things.
Do they?
Yeah.
You
know, you can point at them and get more money back. That's not always good, but at least it tells you you're spending it right.
Fair enough.
How are our water loss numbers looking? Are we improving?
I mean, just raw numbers, again, I mean, we're still running at 31%, I believe it was.
Yeah, this year was worse than last year at this time.
Now, the numbers that I looked at, we improved by 1% or 2%.
Wow.
Because I took your last sheet and the fourth quarter wasn't completely filled out, or did you?
Last
It
year,
might have
I mean,
taken
actually,
longer.
last year it was 18.42, and this year it's 28.8.
For the month.
For the month.
Yeah, and I looked at the whole year.
Oh, yeah, and I
For the whole
didn't-
year,
Yeah, I haven't,
we improved by about
I don't have a whole year
point
one,
and a half.
it's just
Oh.
one month.
For the whole year?
Yeah.
And we've talked to you about that before, Kelly.
Well, Kelly said he was gonna reduce it by half.
Well,
Yeah.
And it's
I
day
guess-
one and we haven't got anything
right.
reduced.
I guess that's
Not
one,
sure what we're worried about.
one challenge though, I guess I would give for this fiscal year. Can we put some number or goal objective that we want to hit at by the end of the year and try to, communicate to me, this is what we're working on, and we are making actual improvements.
And-
Or we're not, or whatever, but let's at least set a target, what we want to be at.
There's nothing wrong with setting a target.
And holding us.
In the end, you want to be,
And holding accountable.
honestly, 15 is on the higher end. I mean, there's a lot of districts running at 5 to 8.
And so,
But with the age of the system, with the community you got, I think 15 is a realistic number. That's probably your best case with the infrastructure you have now.
I think looking back through old numbers, I think the best we've had in the last 2 years was like 18%. If I remember right.
On a given month.
Yeah, on a given month, that's the best we've been able to achieve.
And because it's a percentage, decreasing consumption, it kind of double folds because your percentage loss comes higher. You might be leaking the same amount of gallons, but your percentage is creeping on you because you're selling less total.
yeah.
Sure, it's so different. We've lost this many gallons, not this many, percentage wise.
Yeah, non-revenue water.
Right, yeah. So I guess that'd be my wonder if we come back to next meeting going, this is the goal for the next year.
Yeah. Well, and then also just if we have explanations as to where some of it's going. That I think that's been another one of our weaknesses in the past is, it's a raw number. And so,
It's a number that you put out there when you say, we're missing 6 million gallons a month. That sounds like a lot, but that could be 2 or 3 small leaks, actually, that kind of number, especially if you've got going straight to sanitary sewer storm sewer. you know, you don't even see it, but you're also treating it.
Oh, yeah.
You're paying to treat it too when it comes through, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
It'd be interesting to see in dry summer months what our daily average flow with the plant is compared to what we're putting into the system. That'll give you a pretty good idea of actually what you're leaking and what may be in metering issues.
So I agree, a target for where we want to be, and then a report that makes sense to everybody, that, you know, knowing, you know, what kind of usage is unbilled that we know about. I think we're backing all of these numbers out currently of our reporting.
Hydrant flushing,
But
street
to
sweeping.
see, you know, on the report, here's the raw number, here's what we're gonna back out, and here's what we're estimating for leaks
Mhm.
that we've repaired. Here's our net loss.
Yeah.
And then look at that every month.
Yeah.
Just have it. Well, have we hit agenda 9 yet? I don't think so. Distribution, plant operations, office operations.
We fixed the leak in front of Heston Law Firm
Yeah.
last Monday. Actually fixed it 3 times, but it's back and paved. It was an old wooden plug and a T that was leaking by. Saturday night, South Market, 11th Avenue, we had a leak in the highway. So we had staff repair it overnight.
Concrete will be poured back tomorrow.
Yep, concrete will report back tomorrow. And then that should put it Wednesday morning, we can open either late tomorrow night or Wednesday morning, we get the road open back up.
Still having some issues with motor operators, or because pretty much sorted out?
I think that's pretty well sorted out. One issue that the plant's working on now, there's something in our SCADA between the towers not working correctly.
Yeah.
I was out doing the monthly report last week, and all of a sudden went into alarm for a low tower. The plant dropped 5 foot in like a matter of seconds. The plant operators looked at the south tower where the pressure transducer is, and also the plant, and there's something between the two that's not reading properly. He was going back. He thought maybe it was a pump because it was intermittent, but I know he was contacting automatic systems. He talked to him last week already. Basically what they came back with was, we need to know exactly what's going on before we come down. So he was supposed to talk to them again today. Last week we had the readout for our chlorine scales quit on us. We put bathroom scales in to get by, so we can keep numbers for the DNR for chlorine usage. It did come back on by itself, but we had already ordered a new one in. And then also our scale for our fluoride feed is having issues, so we ordered another one. At the same time, we ordered the readout for the chlorine. It's supposed to be here this week, so it'll be, we get that equipment installed.
So that SCADA system is now, what, 10 years old?
Correct.
So do we have upgrades? Has that been upgraded through the years?
No. I believe the system we have currently, I believe it's Allen Bradley's SCADA system. They tend to go quite a while before they outdate. So we're still able to work on it. I know like on our wastewater side, we have a system that was put in early 90s, and it's just now becoming obsoleted.
Now, there's a lot of those PLCs that are still 20 years old out there functioning.
I mean, ideally, you talk to anybody, they're saying 10 to 15 years is kind of the lifespan they expect out of it, so I don't think it would be a bad idea to look at doing an upgrade with that. But with that, there's some things out there that were not able to be tied in with our SCADA system when it was installed. That would be nice to get everything tied in together so you got control from that one station.
So on our older PLCs, Have we done like an obsolescence? Do we have a spare PLC in case one failed, that we could use, or have we sourced that if they are obsolete or not? Or?
Wastewater side, with the older stuff that's obsolete, we do not.
Okay.
What's kind of got us by the last few times is we've either had a card that was unused in ours, or the company we have that repairs it has replaced the system and had good cards on hand. The price of them, you pay dearly.
Oh, sure.
So.
Well, maybe another thing to look at is our obsolescence and emergency repair.
Yeah, currently with our water plant, that's not an issue with the parts currently, but with getting age, I mean, I think it's definitely something in the 5 to 10 year outlook that's something to look at investing into.
Mm-hmm.
So that somewhere in the whole system, there's servers, I assume, that are kind of running things, and you might be trending some data.
Yeah.
Using them to, log.
We trend and log everything at our
Okay.
treatment plant.
The computers out there, are they?
They were replaced with that one, Crystal, off of plant computers.
I don't know. They were newer than the office ones at one time, but I can't remember what the time they were.
At some point they've been replaced.
There might be some computer equipment out there that. All right, anything else, Matt? Item 9?
Everything at the plant is, we got all the basins up and going again, all the chains are replaced, so everything's working smoother now.
Did you already go over the fluoride issues that you're having there?
No, that was just for the scaling.
Just the scaling? Okay.
Yep.
So new scales? Yep.
Hey, you mentioned in the notes the exhaust fan in the fluoride room. Was that a big deal, or was it, okay?
Bad belt,
Oh,
so easy
Okay.
fix.
okay.
One thing, I guess I do see in here, I believe it's Ed McLeod has contacted me twice. He has an opportunity to sell some ground to do a potential development north of town. His line would be the one that runs from Highway 63 to Lincoln down past KBOE. He has a 4-inch private that services 2 properties. He's wanting to know what he has for options for water service for a development out there. From what I've been told by employees is that if you go to the road north of that one, the concrete one, it kind of curves around to Lincoln. In the past, they've started to gather material to run a new 8-inch from Lincoln all the way to, what was your old road?
230.
230th. It's not in CIP, my understanding. It's just something that staff has started gathering material for. With the potential for development out there, I don't know if that's something we need to maybe look into, or like I had told,
What we were just talking about.
Right.
but what I told Ed on this one, he asked what size it had to be for us to take over. I told him it needed to be an 8-inch, so it would be standard, have fire suppression. We have a 10 and a 12 on Lincoln he could tie to. I guess he was wondering what the water department would do to help. I invited him to visit us at a board meeting.
Yes, good call.
So
Is that inside city limits?
no, that would be,
It's just the property just north of KBOE.
yeah, just
Okay.
230th and 63.
Potential development for how many?
I thought he said
Homes.
8 to 10 lots.
8 to
I
10
think he said there's
lots.
12 acres there.
So just west of Kiwi now?
It's just north of KBOE.
Oh, on the
It's like
north
where
side
that
of the
Hercules
road.
Center
Oh, okay.
is.
Yeah, I got you.
That property there.
So he's got somebody interested, but he was just trying to figure out logistics of utilities. And he said if this he did not have interest at this point in coming, if he was just asking questions at this point.
If he would be interested in annexing in, the number of opportunities gets a lot bigger.
Yeah. How does that work? How far out are we annexed now? Is KBOE and city
Well,
limits?
Interpower Corporation is in,
Okay,
KBOE is not.
Okay.
So that vineyard field that's between the two, the line is in there somewhere.
so if you can't leapfrog over a section, can you? Then-
It's not good form.
Take
We've got, if you've looked at the city of Oskaloosa boundary lines, you notice that there's some little fingers that
Yeah.
connect bigger pieces.
Okay.
We kind of have that odd one by.
Can you forcibly annex if there's percentage surrounded?
Yes. Yep. So if the new development said we want in, if you drew your lines right, then you could get your percentages right and then pull in the real estate between.
Okay.
But, doing that, Oskaloosa's development engine is a little more powerful than the one for the water department by itself.
In a recent board meeting, another March edition, right? We agreed to do some, to facilitate some work down one of the side streets. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong there, but
That would have been prior to Chattanooga.
yeah, prior to Chattanooga.
Right.
Yeah.
That was on.
And it was a question of whether or not we would facilitate that development.
Yeah. And as I remember, that was a movement from
Yes.
previous behavior.
Yes.
That,
Yeah.
So we've started to set a precedent that, yes, we'll do what we can.
I mean, we've got probably 500 feet of pipe sitting out back for this project
So, yeah,
already. That's
already been gathered.
accumulated.
Okay.
I thought it was part of this water main project we're doing, and then got asking about what it was for, and that's how.
So
found
how
out
does
it was-
that come about? Because you don't just go out and start accumulate that on the side. You have to submit purchase orders and things, right?
There's money left in that line item, in that budget line item, and so they wanted to spend it.
Under repairs and things?
Correct.
Okay. I see. All right.
So,
Well, that's good to know.
yes, now you know.
Just kidding. Now we know.
I guess the tough one on that one's kind of the benefit cost of spending the money to run that line across the.
Mhm.
I mean, it would loop our 10 and 12 and our 20, so that wouldn't be an all bad deal.
Right.
But as far as customer base, I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot that would be, we have the potential of an addition or subdivision, and that's obviously good, but the
Well, you
cost
don't
would
want to
be.
be interested in rural water.
Well, that's exactly it at this point with our rural water.
Mhm.
It sounds like somebody's got some plans in the back of their mind, maybe not in the back of their mind, but nothing firmly established yet. So I still think this person needs to come to the board and say, here's what I have planned, and here's exactly how many feet and where we would like it to run.
Yeah, like I said, I've talked to him twice, I believe, last week, and invited him, told him when we have him, so I'm sure we'll probably see him at a board meeting, just, if nothing more, to get clarification on what his requirements are for something that he would take over, or what we were willing to do.
Concept drawings would be a great idea to bring to that meeting.
Yep. And it sounds like he's not the one doing the development, it would be whoever he sells it to. I think
Yeah.
he's just trying to do the legwork aspect to help make his property a little more valuable with having utilities that close.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, sanitary sewer would have to be run that direction as well too, right?
We have nothing out there for sewer. Actually, you get to Lindana.
Yeah.
Glendale, that's all rural water sewer that just came in and put pits in,
Okay.
so.
Okay.
So I think that's all I have.
Agenda item 10. Members, any items from the board? We talked a little bit last week about assigning or electing of officers. We're postponing that until next meeting. Anybody else have any other items? If not, would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move for adjournment.
Second.
Okay, in favor? Aye?
Aye.
We are adjourned.